Alright guys, I'm putting some ditch lights in the front of my Kubota BX. I got these Roadshock LED lights from Harbor Freight. I'm actually really impressed with them. They got awesome build quality. You can see on the box the way they're built. They got a rubber gasket. They're IP67 rated, which means they're pretty damn watertight. They're nice and heavy, they're dense, they got a nice heat sink on them, cast aluminum. Comes with all stainless steel hardware. Comes with everything you need to mount it. I got these on sale for 19 bucks a piece, which was also $19 on sale. So between everything, I got $60 into this, and I got everything I need to wire these. These are 3-inch floodlights. They also have spotlights. I wanted floodlights because I wanted something more broad. Road at something, that's when you want a spotlight. If you just want a broad light in front of you, then you'd want a floodlight. So anyway, what I really like about these lights is it comes with these pigtails, waterproof connectors. If you ever got to take them off, you just unplug them. So they're not permanently attached, which is nice. And it's just nice that they come with waterproof connectors. The harness that comes in here is plenty long enough to wire it on damn near anything you have. It gives you plenty of length, and I'll show you that now. Okay, so the wiring harness, you got power and ground going to your battery. You got the inline fuse on the positive in case it grounds to short. It'll pop the fuse and it won't burn up or melt the wires. All the wires are sleeved in this, encased in the sleeving here, which is really nice because I was actually going to put it in like a wire wrap, and I don't even have to do that now because it's got the sleeve on her. I mean, you still can if you want to, but I'm probably not gonna. It comes with your relay, so that takes the load off of the switch. It'll make the switch last longer. Everything is nicely shrink wrapped, waterproofed. You can see how nice they really did a nice job on it. So you want to put this on a good ground, get your positive and negative leads on your battery, if that's how you want to do it. If you want to go to the fuse panel or do another fuse panel, like an auxiliary fuse panel over here, you can go off of that, and then that way it's not always live. Like right now, the way I have it hooked up, every time I turn the switch on, the lights will come on. But I want it like that because sometimes I'm at bonfires and this and that, I'm doing something outside, and a lot of times I don't want to leave the key on just to have lights. So I actually want it routed this way. You just got to be mindful, making sure you don't leave the switch on because it'll drain your battery. But I like it this way because I can have the key off, not draining any other power. The fuel pump won't be running, and I could just flip the switch. I could have my lights on without killing my battery. Here's the switch. It's a waterproof switch, and it lights up, which I really like. So again, it's not going to be that hard to not notice. If I'm getting off the tractor and I see a red light beaming me in the face, obviously I know my lights are still on, let alone all the light in front. I don't think there'll be any problem leaving it on, you know? So that's just another indicator. It's really nice to have. I think it's only a 1/2-inch hole that you got to drill. I'm probably going to put mine right down here somewhere. So the switch is nice too because you could replace it. Say the switch goes bad, you just got those little pull connectors. You just pull them off the prongs. You could replace the switch at any time. You can replace the relay at any time. It just pulls out of that plug. That's really nice. You can replace the fuse. Gives you plenty of wire. And then that wire, once you get it hooked up, that wire comes over here and goes to it also comes with a Y harness. So all that harness comes out and it goes to another pigtail plug. It's another waterproof plug. And from that plug, it attaches to a Y harness, which is what this is here. So then this harness comes out, if I can show you, and as you can see, coming off that one plug, you can see it's a Y harness. So that's a Y harness, and then that allows you to hook up 2 LED lights. You don't have to. If you only want one, you just hook the one up, and you don't use the harness. But it's just nice to have. My dog. Come on, champ. You gotta get out of the way. So it comes with the Y harness and the end of the lights. It's got this nice silicone wire, really nice, heavy gauge, just a really nice insulation on it. It's a nice pliable wire. And then it comes down to this plug here. So your Y harness will plug into there. Again, a nice waterproof connector. All this hardware is stainless steel. It's got a rubber gasket in here. Like I said, IP67 rated. They're nice, dense. They got awesome heat sink capabilities. You know, it's very beefy. And the nice thing I like about these, where I put them, is you could put it on that top bolt there. It's a carriage bolt, and it's for like this, like a support for your hood, I believe. That's all it is, just the hood support. Probably holds some other miscellaneous things like the shock that brings the hood up and whatnot. But there's 2 bolts on either side that hold this up. So I just tapped into that one bolt. I took the nut off, as you can see there. I just took that nut off. I had to drill the bracket out just a little bit bigger so it slid over that bolt, that carriage bolt. I slid it on, tightened it up, and that's it. And then you get your lights where you want to, and you snug up these two bracket mounts here. Go into the housing. It also comes with, the kit comes with a little rubber, you see this little rubber insulator, and that's nice because it helps it not to vibrate loose or tip down, and it also helps to reduce vibrations going to the light, so that'll make the light last longer. It's just all in all a really awesome kit for 60 bucks. I could point these outward going this way, you know, and so if I'm driving, plowing along a certain line and I want to see off to the left and right of me, I could do that. I could keep them in front of me. And then this way, if I have the bucket raised up and the bucket is covering up my normal lights down below, the minute my bucket starts to cover these up, I have lights coming back through down below. So it just gives you a lot more options, gives you a lot more light. These lights, as you can see in here, I changed these out to LED lights as well. These are nice bright. I think they're 5000K. Paul Short is where I got that idea from. He built his own ditch lights that you can buy. But in my opinion, I love Paul Short, and I think he does awesome products and comes up with awesome ideas, and he's a very smart guy. The thing I don't like about his lights are, for one, they cost a lot because we live in the United States, and to get them from Newfoundland, where I believe he lives, it costs a lot to ship, and they're just very expensive to buy. From what I can tell, the harness he gives you with those lights is the exact same harness as this harness right here that I got for $19. It comes with, it's the exact same harness. I mean, I seen in one video he had, it's the same switch, same relay, same fuse, same casing. That's what he gives you with his lights. His LED lights, I'm sure, are very similar to this, only they mount differently because he has them encased in that shell that he built. But what I don't like about his are, once you mount that, you can't, his are not adjustable. So they're just at like a 45-degree angle coming off the frame, and they're not adjustable. So if you ever want to tip them forward or tip them off to the side, you can't do that. And the other thing I don't like is once you have them on, he's got like this bumper thing you could put on the front that kind of protects them. The problem is you can't have like a front hitch on. Like I use this hitch all the time. I use the bottom loop here for tie down points when I go on jobs. I have a winch that I slide in here and I pin it. I have a winch that I put on here, and then that's what this connector here is for. I just cut the zip tie. It usually hangs right on the frame here, just like this. And I just plug this is actually like a plow plug. And I soldered that on, and this goes directly to the battery and to the remote. But if I put my winch on, I just take the pin out, I slide my winch in. I got it on a 2-inch receiver, so I slide my winch into the mount, pin it, I plug it in, and I'm ready to roll. So I love having that winch because it's great to have certain times I'm around the house. Like last year I got my mower stuck down in the woods, and it's down on a bottom of a real steep hill, and it was all muddy and slick. And I knew my tractor would get stuck if I went down there. So I stayed on top of the hill, I slid my winch in, plugged it in, I dragged the line out, hooked it up, and I just pulled it back instead of driving it down the hill and getting that stuck along with my mower. So I love to have this front hitch, and I know a lot of other guys do too. And with his lights, I just don't see how that's going to work if you put the bumper in the front. If you don't get his optional bumper, that's fine too. Like you can buy his lights, I believe, without the bumper, but they kind of protrude. The casing that the lights are held on, the shell, it protrudes like this far out. I don't know, I just don't think, I think it kind of looks weird. But anyway, Paul Short, I'm not dissing anything he builds. He builds fantastic stuff, and he has fantastic ideas. It's just for me and for what I do with my tractor, this was the better route to go. In my opinion, it was the cheaper route to go. It was easier. I didn't have to drill any holes in my frame, whereas his, you have to drill holes in your frame. People say all the time, don't drill your ROPS, don't drill your ROPS. Well, then why the hell are you going to drill your tractor frame? You know, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't want to drill holes in my tractor frame. So anyway, I just like this. It's on that one little hinge. You just take one little nut out, you slide it on, you pop it in place, you grab your harness, you plug it all in, you run it to the battery, power ground, you drill a 1/2-inch hole, mount your switch, you're all done. You zip tie the wires, and that's it. So that's what I'm working on. Here's my winch. This is where my winch remote stays. It just stays right here. I got forward, backwards, and I just leave it on all the time. Just sits right there. It's out of the way. I don't even notice it. And then when I plug my winch in, this is operable. And I have that routed down through here, and it goes through this little firewall type deal. And I'm gonna use this cable. I'm gonna follow the exact same line where I ran my winch, because my winch comes out for the power of my winch. It comes out over here too. So I'm gonna use that same tap, basically, that same routing to wire this lights. Eventually I'm gonna get a little soft cab for this, for the winter. Just a cheap $1,000, who makes it? Original Tractor cabs. You can get it for like 1,100 bucks shipped to your door. It's a hardtop soft cab, and what's nice about it is once you got it built, it's only like 4 to 6 bolts to remove the cab. Because I don't want a cab on in the summertime. I don't care how nice it is. I don't want it on in the summer. It's just obstructing, it's in the way. I'm not as productive. So what's nice about the soft cab is it's light, it's easy to remove by yourself. You just zip a couple bolts off and you take the whole cap off, set it to the side, cover it up for the summer. And in the spring or in the fall, you could pop it right back on, throw in your 4 to 6 bolts, and you're ready to go again for the winter. So eventually when I get my cab, I'm gonna get 2 more of these lights, and I'll probably tap into this same harness so I could have it all in the same switch. And I will have, you know, basically on the top of the cab, I'll have 1 more of these 3-inch floodlights on each side. And then this thing should have plenty of lighting for me in the winter. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that. It's called the Roadshock by Harbor Freight. Here's some more of the details. 40 amp relay, easy install switch, 30 amp fuse protection. You have to read the instructions because it comes with a 30 amp fuse in it, and I'm not sure why. Because if you read the instructions, it actually tells you what fuse to use depending on how many lights you're using and which lights you're using. So with these 2 3-inch floodlights, it said to use a 5 amp fuse. So that's what I used, was a 5 amp fuse. So I popped that in instead. And if you don't use the correct fuse, if you do have a short, you're either gonna burn out your lights or you're gonna burn your wires. So make sure you read the directions when you install the fuse. Guys, I got my lights all finally done wired here. Decided to put the switch here, just makes sense. I got my lights on and off, and I got my switch right below it. And if I want to eventually add, you know, ROPS lights or cab lights when I do my cab, I'll just put them on either side of this. Or maybe I'll wire them all in the same switch. I haven't decided yet. They're really bright. They work good. I like having the switch on just the battery power because, like I said, if I'm doing something at night, I could turn the lights on. At least I could have light for in front of the tractor and working, and basically have a work light without having a key on and the pump running and all that. Also, you know, sometimes doing loader work and say it's glaring off the back of the bucket or something, and if you had it wired into the main switch here, you don't have an option. You're always gonna have them damn lights on with the other lights. So to me, that would be frustrating not to be able to designate and turn one set on over the other. So I've seen guys wire them all into the switch here. Like I said, I don't like that because, you know, then you're pretty much, you got all your lights on at the same time, and whether or not you even need that much light, then you're kind of stuck with it. But this way I have it on a separate switch, and it just works better that way for me. And then if I ever decide to have it so that it's only can be turned on when a key is on, I could always do that and just add the auxiliary fuse panel here, and all I gotta do is take the power and ground from this switch that goes to the battery and just take it off and put it to the auxiliary panel. So none of my wires really have to change. I just gotta change the location where it's getting the power from. So it's an easy change down the road if I ever decide to take this, so, you know, switch this so it can't be powered on without the key. So anyway, from the switch, it goes to the battery through a fuse, an inline fuse. I got all the wires nicely neat, wrapped up here, out of the way. Let me take it to the other side. On the other side, so this is where all the wires are wrapped up. Gives you plenty of wire with the kit. Wires come out here, and then they go up through, and here's my relay. So I got the self-tapper put in there, so I got a good ground on my relay. If I ever got to change it, I can get at it. So that comes down from there. So it goes to from the switch to the battery, out from the battery to the relay, from the relay, down through here, and it kind of goes through this firewall, if you want to call it. The wires come through here, and then right here is my first pigtail. It's kind of hard to see, but that's the first pigtail where the main light switch goes to the Y harness. So it plugs in there. There's the start of the Y harness. Bring it around here. So there is that pigtail. It gets plugged in into the splitter. The splitter comes down along the frame here, alongside the frame, and then it dips down underneath where you can't see it. And then from there, you can see the wires, they go in behind the motor mount. It's hard to see. Way up under here is where I got the plug, basically under the front bumper. And I have it zip tied all up out of the way. It's not gonna interfere with the axle or anything rubbing or turning, or it's all up out of the way. And then from them pigtails, that's the end of the Y, the splitter. From them, each plug goes to the light. So I got one coming through that pigtail, coming up and into the light here. As you see, I was able to squeeze it in between the motor mounts. The pigtail comes out and it goes underneath and it comes up through that in between that motor mount and goes to the light. The only thing I haven't done yet is I got to get a zip tie. I'm gonna put my plow connector right here, or not my plow connector, but my winch connector. I'm gonna zip tie it to the bottom of the light bracket, and then that way when I plug my winch into the receiver, my plug will be right here, and that's where it was pretty much before. So I just got to zip tie that, put my bonnet back on, put the front cover back on, the panel, the screen, and then that's it. Just kind of wanted to show you how they wire in and how nice they are. They're easy to work with. The switch is nice. Everything's waterproof. The lights are IP67, which is really good. Here's an example. This right here is a snap-on light. I paid a lot of money for it, $300 and something. It's very bright. This is IP67. Right there, IP67. So that just kind of shows you how waterproofed and, you know, a good design IP67 is. So that's what these utilize. So should be a good long-term system, and this thing gets parked in the garage anyway, in the shed, and I shouldn't have any problems with water, I don't think, or anything. The only time it really gets wet is when I wash the tractor. So, okay guys, so here's a final look with it on the tractor. There they are, mounted on each side. Like I said, what I really like is I can kind of put them right where I want them. If I want to angle them down, I can angle them down a little bit. If I want to angle them out, I just pull them out. If I want them facing out towards, you know, the sides, I can do that. If I want them straight forward, I could do that. So I got a lot of versatility with them. The hood bonnet, even though I tested this, it didn't get in the way, but when I went to put it on for whatever reason, I think it's because this bonnet, it's wider down here than it is over here. I had to just kind of pull the bonnet on either side and just kind of stretch it up and around. I was able to get it on. It wasn't too bad. I just had to kind of pull the bonnet apart a little bit so that I was able to clear these lights, and then once I got that big portion, that wider portion around the lights, the rest of it went perfectly smooth. And as you can see, I mean, it just clears. But I think it looks real clean like that too, you know. I think it looks really good. I also replaced my plow plug. I had a red one on here and it turned pink because it got sun faded, and I found an extra one that I had for my winch connector, so I put the black one on there. Had I known the red one would have faded like it did, I would have just went with the black to begin with. So, okay. So here's just the regular lights. And now those are LED lights, and they're a lot brighter than the factory. But those are regular lights, okay? And now this is the new lights. See, it's quite the difference. That's regular lights, that's with the new lights. Regular, new. And then turn the regular ones off. And this is just the new lights. That's just the new ones. And then this is the regular with it. So yeah, that's quite a difference. Let me shut the lights off in the shop here. Alright, here's the regular lights. I mean, the regular ones are bright. Once I did the LED, it did brighten them up a lot. Okay, so there's the regular lights. And there's it with the new added lights. You can see the reflection on the floor. That's the regular, that's the new ones. Let me just do just the new lights. It's just the new lights. Now that's the factory lights. Factory off, factory on. So yeah, it looks good. Let me see how it looks in the front. Yeah, I think that looks mean.